Thank you for tuning into the Mad Rapper Show. I'm your host, the Mad Rapper, and on today's show, I'm going to talk to you guys about my first visit to a dispensary and why it was the shit. So, I've been around places that are sort of liberal with the weedage. Like, I used to live in Washington State. It's a totally different vibe. Even before it was legalized, it was totally different than living in Oklahoma, where, like, it's fear. I mean, if you ain't afraid to be smoking weeds and you in Oklahoma, then you a fool, because you be under the jail. But so I go to Colorado Springs, and it's like 5 of us crammed into a car. You know, it's pretty uncomfortable. We decide that first night we went to get something to eat, and then we decided to go to a dispensary. So I'm like super stoked. Now, we've been rolling around Colorado Springs, and I've seen countless dispensaries everywhere. They even had a gas station that was like, you pump your gas and get some weed. But the thing was that in Colorado Springs, everything was just medicinal. So they had like a cross on the signs or on the building. It was like a green, like medical cross, but that meant only medical. So eventually we, Googled some places, and we found this little place, and we didn't know whether it was medical or not. So we pull up to it. I look at the front of the storefront. You can see how they had like edibles and stuff. It looked pretty. And I tell, my friends, I'm like, well, it has a green cross, so it may be medicinal. Now, Ouija, one of my good friends, he actually is from there. And so everybody's telling him, yo, go in and see if it's medicinal. Ouija's like, yo, because we've been in Oklahoma so long, that fear, like you don't really want to do it. You don't want to go out and be like, I want some weed, because it's a stigma on it. So we go back and forth for like 3 minutes. Like, I'm laughing because I think he's playing, but he's totally serious. He wants me to go in. So finally, I'm like, okay, you peer pressured me into it. I'll go in. So I'm walking up. This old guy goes in before me. So I'm standing sort of behind the old guy while he's talking to the lady. The lady says, what are you guys looking for? This old guy says, I don't know. And it was hilarious to me. It wasn't like, I don't know, like, y'all got so much weed, I don't know. It was like, motherfucker, you gotta say weed before I say weed. Like, he totally was brand new. So the lady looks at us and can tell that we have no clue what we're doing, so we can't be, medical users of marijuana, because they would probably just come in and get what they want and be done. So she tells us there's a place down the street, and I believe it was Manatee Springs, where you guys can get recreational weed. She gives us a card. I'm like, peace. We go down the street to Manatee Springs, which was packed. This place was like a party. I mean, it was literally a line outside. So we stood in the line for at least 5-10 minutes before we even got in the building. It was packed. And then once you get in, it's like you stand in this little area where they explain stuff to you. They're like, you can only do this once a day, and you can only get an ounce. Like, they explain these rules. So they take our ID and they give it to somebody else who, I guess, holds it. We go into the next room where they have like computers set up where you can like look at the different types of weed, learn fun facts and tidbits about it. It tells you the THC, whether it's a hybrid. I believe the one I can't remember the name of it. I wanted one that was blue something, and I wanted it because it was cheap, like, because they do add taxes. So I wanted it because it was cheap, but then they didn't have enough of that. I guess they were sold out of that, so I had to get something else. But so I'm in this room looking at the computer. The lady comes to the door. They like open the door and they call for you like you're at the doctor's office. So they're looking at your ID and they're saying, I need John, Chris, Elizabeth, Anthony, and they call us off, and we go into the next room. That's when they give us our ID back. Then in the next room, you got like these tables, and there's like probably 60 people in this little room. So it's like touching motherfuckers. It's just like a lot of movement. But they got these tables where they have like weed in jars where you can like smell it and see it. And these people, probably about 5-6 people walking around the room with iPads, and they're the people that take your order. So you show them your ID, you tell them what you want, or they give you information, because I said I want the blue blah blah blah, and he was like, we don't sell that by the gram. You have to have like I guess you got to get an eighth of it, but it was pre-rolled, so they was trying to sell joints of that or something. I don't know. It was like being in Disneyland for me. I was trying to soak it all up, but it still was like a lot of information. So I ended up looking on the table and being like, well, I want sativa. So it was like, well, you can get this. And it was like Jack Furrer. Or it was some weird name. Like I don't understand what the name was about. So I get that. It was dank. So basically I took my order, and then there's a line. It was a long ass line. And then you get to the front, you tell them your name, they look at your license again, and they bag it and like give it to you. It's totally legit. Legit. But the thing that sort of was weird was the laws of it. Because of course you can't smoke and drive. It's just like drinking. But then it said like, they want you to get it from that type of place, like a dispensary. But you also can gift weed, which means, like, I was sort of confused. I'm like, yo, you can get it from dispensary. So if a cop pulls you over, do you have to have it in a container from the dispensary? What if you have it in a bag? What does that mean? So I asked people about it, and they said that most of those laws they can't enforce. You know, the driving and smoking law they can enforce, because it's pretty easy to tell if somebody's smoking during driving from the smell and smoke. But as far as seeing where you got the weed from, they really don't care. So if you were to get pulled over and you have a bag of weed sitting in the passenger seat, you wouldn't get in trouble for it as long as it's under a certain amount. And I believe the amount there is an ounce per person. So you got 3 ounces, and you got 3 people in the car, you're straight. You know? So it was an experience. The only thing that I see that's bad about weed is that everyone was so happy there. And then I got home, like I didn't hear anything about social anything, what was happening in the world. No one cared. It was beautiful. People was walking around. When I went to the Garden of the Gods, it was blissful. It was dope. And I don't even like walking, but it was dope. But everyone's so like chill and mellow and cool. And I get home and I'm like, oh my God, Trump is tripping. Like I didn't even know about this shit. The last time I heard Trump was, I guess yesterday at the hotel. I heard one of the housekeepers say, do you know what Trump doing? Do you know what Trump doing? But she wasn't talking to me, but she was talking to somebody else, and I wasn't gonna try to linger and be like, what is he doing? What's going on? But yeah, I didn't even know about this shit. No one in Colorado cares. That's like the only bad thing about, you know, legal marijuana. It's like a whole state of motherfuckers that don't even care. Like no one even gave a fuck about what Trump is doing. So I had to get home and see it, and I'm like, damn, shit is all bad. And I was all happy and shit, walking around looking at rocks. The people there were dope. You know, the experience was dope. It was nice to actually have some chronic on you and not be afraid. Like seriously, that was probably the nicest thing, you know, because even when I lived in Washington State, it wasn't legal, and it was sort of like, you wouldn't get in real trouble for it, but it was still like, yo, I don't want to get caught with this. I don't want to go through the hassle of having to pay a ticket. It was a good experience. So I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. I really don't give a fuck if you're pro weed or you're anti. Like, dude, to each its own. You know, if I lose subscribers because I hit some blunts, dude, I don't give a fuck. Like, seriously, y'all need to grow the fuck up. But for real, If you guys have a chance or ever get a chance to go to Colorado, it's beautiful. Denver was beautiful. It just, the vibe was dope and the scenery was dope. Like, I don't see how you can live there and be depressed. Seeing mountains every day, seeing pretty shit, interacting with cool people. Like, that's the thing that got me. Like, I live in Oklahoma, motherfuckers be mad, motherfuckers be on some other shit. And I'm like, dude, if we had legal, these motherfuckers would chill the fuck out. Because everybody in Colorado was cool as fuck. Like, cool as fuck. I didn't even get no racism in that bitch. That's how cool they was. It was too high to be racist. All right, well, whether you agree with me or you don't, comment below and let me know. I'm the Mad Rapper, and I'm out.
I'm the Mad Rapper, I speak the truth, I let it flow. If you got an opinion, comment below and let me know. If you like, please hit subscribe and tell all your friends about the Mad Rapper Show.